Welcome back, everyone. It's so good to be back. I finally have a functioning computer and a functioning body. I was sick for a while there. Anyway, let's talk with these chuckle fucks. I'm sorry. Sorry about what? For stammering and all, being a gog, grinning an idiot. I just cannot actually believe you are real and here and alive and not dying, and so am I. Here with you, I mean, and sharing all these mentioned attributes. I can't believe it either. I have so much to say, I think, even though I can't think of the stuff at the moment. I'm sorry, I should use the abbreviation. Think of the stuff at the end. I know what you mean. I hope it's okay if I just sit near you, not being specially articulate for a bit. That is more than okay. As long as you're willing to similarly excuse the spectacular demise of my capacity for artful self-expression. OMG, yeah, you're so jerk. Wow, I just caught it. Whoa. You sound so much like him. Oh my god, that's too perf and cute. Dirk? I can't get over it. Now I can't unhear it. Even your voice sounds kind of like his, but it's just girl Dirk. LMAO, wow, yes. He sounds like a hell of a guy. Oh, you have no idea. Well, I'm told he should be arriving here in a little while. If he's anything like Dave's late older brother, and if he's anything like me, which he apparently is, and this is when I'm guessing the real party will begin. I'm ready. I want to know things about him, such as if he shares his elder's counterpart Everest for soft puppet ass, and if that combined with his myriad vaguely unsettling psychological peculiarities could occupy a dedicated team of therapists for years. The answer is yes, and yes. Knowing this amuses me, for some reason. But mainly, there are things I want to know about you. I presume there will be plenty of time later to hound my biological father for the dirt on his proclivities. What do you want to know about me? Everything. I think the main difficulty is deciding what to ask is in sifting questions I would love for my mother, that is to say, the woman who raised me, from the questions I have for you. Well, I didn't raise you or anything, but I can sincerely take a crack at both kinds of questions. Okay. Do you really like wizards? Rose. Yes? Rose. Rose! I fucking love wizards! I see. As odd as it sounds, that actually does go pretty far in letting me know something about both of you. Oh? My relationship with her was complicated, but I've come to see that as mostly my fault. I was too young to understand her. I never even got the chance to misunderstand my mom, or grown-up you. I don't get to misunderstand her in person. More like as a legendary figure because I grew up 400 years after she died. Right. I think I'm going to have to call the contest early. Yours is the more interesting biography by quite a lot. Not really. Not to me, at least. I was lonely. I thought about her a lot to pass the time. She was pretty amazing, at least according to history. She wrote hella books about wizards and rode a genocidal fat man down a waterfall of blood. She wrote hella books about wizards? Yeah. They were famous and good and everything. Sounds like I fumbled into the wrong line of work. There's no money in the spur business. Well, there is. It just comes in incredibly stupid denominations, which are not particularly useful. Do you have copies of these books? Yes. Yes, I do. There are copies back on my planet, assuming John didn't retcon them away like a book thief and sneak. I would really love to read them sometime, if you wouldn't mind. No, not at all. By the way, this is Kanaya. Sorry for the combination of bad manners and general dumbfoundedness which precluded a more timely introduction. Hello. Hey, that's a nice name. Also, you're pretty. Thank you. I admire the aesthetics of your name and appearance as well, and in no small part due to their respective similarity to your daughters. Wow, man, that was somehow both a convoluted thing to say, yet smooth as hell. I'm impressed. Welcome to Miriam City. Population, a whole lot of great remarks like that. But yes, I'll get you those books. They're great. They made me want to write my own wizard books. Did you? Yes, sorta. Could I read them? Hey, you got to read mine. Yeah, but you were like an old pro when you wrote yours. They're freaking masterpiece wizard fics. They won Pulitzers and shit. Pulitzers and shit. Did they really? I don't know, probably? Oh. I don't know, they're just very, very good. So the ancient prize scholars, I'm sure, were like, dude, these wizards are very, very fucking good. Give them all the awards, then shut down the awards, but not because of the Lumen Apocalypse. Just because you literally cannot do better than these wizards. I can live with that. It's always been on one of my professional goals to write tales of magical men so provocative they would cause the permanent and unceremonious dissolution of at least one prestigious award. So yeah, I don't know. I guess you can see, but it's a pale ghost of a story compared to your stuff, and also, I'm kind of weird. I like weird. Yeah, just, your opinion means a lot more to me, and I'm nervous. You might think it sucks. But I never even wrote the masterpieces you read. I think you may have a view of my abilities, which I haven't earned yet. Really, I'm not that good. I have my own story drafts, which you can read if you like. They're nothing special, frankly. Oh, really? Oh, man, okay, that sounds fun. If during your... Fuck. Sorry, there's something about Kanaya's face. If during your manuscript exchange you need someone to read over your shoulder, say, to proofread, or to purge each sentence of punctuation and capitalize the first letter of every word, I'd be happy to volunteer. Strictly professionally, of course, and not because I really want to read your wizard thing too. I really want to read your wizard things too, I hope that's okay. Yeah, sure, it's okay. Sorry, me and Rose are babbling away over here to each other. We don't mean to be excluding you. It's fine. I am thoroughly enjoying my role as a spectator. I know that Rose has been looking forward to this a lot, and that she received similarly vicarious and politely passive enjoyment from the interactions I had with my ancestor. So now I will just resume the politely passive part of it. You don't gotta. Jump in whenever you feel it. Whenever you're feeling it. I love meeting new trolls. Well, at least when they're not evil or something. Love them not evil trolls. Like the cranky one over there in Rad Ruby Shades. Terezi. Yeah, she's a boss. That's a pretty fair way to describe the attitude of anyone higher than me on the humo spectrum, but yes, you are right. Oh, also, lest we forget, dear Fafetta. Fafetta, you mean Faferi? No, Fafetta, she was my dear precious soul. She was my sprite? Guess she never happened in this version of stuff, though. Dang. That's sad, but maybe not quite as sad as her existing than exploding. I'm confused. Wonder what even else is different. Well, you died too. I did? Yes, while pushing me out of the way of a fork. So, thank you for that, retroactively, and to a different version of you. Jeez. Yeah, I had a really similar thing happen in my timeline, also involving a fork. And even though you're okay now, it's still almost too sad to even talk about. Yeah. We didn't get to exchange even a single word before you were gone. All I could think was, how can this be happening again? Luckily, the sense of misery was short-lived, though. It wasn't long before I was informed the incident was part of something bigger taking shape, and that John was on his way with a different version of you. I had no idea what a different version actually entailed, but I wasn't about to quibble. I was so relieved. Same. Although, instead of waiting for you to come back, I had to jump through all these hoops with John, and went through some, different stuff. I may have thrown an impromptu funeral for your alt-you dead body. You did? Yup, sorry if that sounds weird, and I knew I was coming to meet a new version of you, but it helped me, with, like, feelings about people I left behind. A funeral, wow, that... Sorry for this, if it comes off as odd, but that's so mom of you. Oh yeah? I like your mom. Me too. I don't mean to be too analytical about getting to know you, really. I guess comparisons are a little hard for me to avoid, since the adult version of you played such a significant role in my life. So, I can't help seeing the similarities when they are there, but also you are so clearly your own person, shaped by your own experiences, and that is the person I would prefer to get to know, rather than a young avatar for the memory of a departed parent. But this is the context which somewhat inescapably colors my perception of what you reveal. So while some observations are in the vein of predictable, charmingly so, mind you, in the vein of predictable, shouldn't it be in the vein of the predictable? Charmingly so, mind you. Others I regard as surprising. What about me is surprising? Well, you don't quite seem like a person who, I don't want to ask anything that would be rude to you, or spiteful to her, because I don't feel that conflicted about this anymore. Particularly since I had my own troubles with it, so it'd be pretty hypocritical. Conflicted about what? let me back up a little. It was a long ride on the Meteor. One experiences things over a few years, given a lot of time to think, changes and such. About halfway through, I started thinking more about Mom and about you, knowing that I'd probably meet you, and, I don't know, live up to the experience. It's silly, but I'm guessing you understand what I mean. Basically, I was just nervous. And it was all mixed up with feelings of conflict and remorse over my mother, who, to my hazy preteen recollection, never wasted a day in my life on sobriety. She and her habit put all those days to quite effective use, actually, and I don't even quite remember the thought process that led to this, but I sort of ran with it too. The habit, I mean, for a while at least. I was still distraught about losing her, and wanted to understand her, to connect with her in some way, and I guess that was the only idea I had. And on some level, I think connecting with her was also a way of preparing myself to meet you. No. Better. Even though that probably makes no sense, since you aren't literally her, and don't share all her... I guess I shouldn't speak for you, though. So you're saying you're surprised I'm unlike her in the way because I don't seem like someone who'd get drunk off her ass all the time. Well, I guess I should be flattered if you really think so, but you're wrong. So my story's kind of like yours. I had a mom I never knew and wanted to feel close to her however I could. I grew up mostly unsupervised in her old house. It had all this old stuff in it, plus some old booze squirreled away here and there. And I just started up even though I was way too young for shit like that. Whoops. Like I said, it was a bit light on discipline around then. It's not like a bunch of silly pumpkin eaters were gonna stop me. Pumpkin eaters? Chess guys, loads of them. But yeah, I wanted to be like her and do what she did, but mostly just made a hot catastrophe of myself. I doubt that is what she wanted. At the time, it seemed like a cool thing a real intellectual and mysterious book celebrity would do, while also leading a badass and secretly subversive life in opposition of tyranny. But I think what is more likely is she knew the whole world would end and everyone would die no matter what she did, which was probably hard to live with. I don't know if I can blame the old lady for wanting to get a wee bit sauced after a couple of rapping clowns won a presidential election. Yeah, wait, what? Clowns? Long story. Bad story. Please continue. Okay, yes, I'm sure my mother knew the end was coming too. Knowing that helped put a lot of her behavior in context for me. I was always too young to understand. Poor moms. Poor adult dead sexy lady us's. Truth. But anyway, back to us. Kid alive sexy lady us's. Yes. It sounds like your Rose had an incredible career, but all things considered, I prefer being kid alive sexy lady me. Agree. I know what you mean about being nervous. About meeting you, I mean, maybe nervous isn't quite right, but when I started thinking about meeting you is when I started thinking I should try being not quite such a mess. So I started taking the idea of cleaning up my act more seriously. Ultimately, I concluded the same thing. I decided it wouldn't be a very dignified way to make an entrance, or for that matter, a very constructive way to help out in a struggle to preserve reality. Luckily, I was able to cut it out a while ago. I admit it wasn't easy, but it helped a lot to have people around looking out for me. Poke. Sits. Poked. Yeah, I had friends help me too. Couldn't have done it without them. I never had IRL friends before this trip. It's interesting to observe the various ways they apply themselves to your benefit. Some people are around to make you feel like you're worth sticking with, even when you fuck up. And some people are around to kick your ass to make sure you don't. I think I had to play the latter role to my friends a lot, and also to myself, I guess. Who kicked your ass? Was it the yelly guy over there? No, Carcat was mostly preoccupied with his own shenanigans. The yelling is deceptive. He's a very private person. Vriska, however, she really is quite an extravagant bitch. Lilimeo. But it turns out people like that tend to have some convenient assets, such as the sheer force of personality to keep a bunch of idiots from falling apart. Don't get me wrong, it's quite annoying, but useful. Yeah, I probably should have been more of a bitch to all my peeps. Maybe wouldn't have gone to jail and died. Let it be a lesson to us all. Seriously though, it's so nice to hear in your stories, especially the similarities of stuff we experienced. Wizards and writing and mom stuff, even bad things we went through. And obviously we're similar by DNA and all, but even so, it still feels comforting. that even if you flip the universe upside down and change it all around, put all us apart by centuries, kill off all the humans, flood the world, we are still connected to each other in a mysterious way that goes beyond genes and circumstance. And that, I think, is some tight frickin' noise to consider. I'm considering it right now, and yes, that noise is so tight. Weep, weep, weep. Hey, what are we all talking about over there? Damn it, Dave. Alright. I think we've got time for one more. Oh, boy. Sprite, is it okay if we pretend to have a conversation over here for a while, so that I look busy and not come off as big of a doofus as I feel like? I can oblige, and also personally identify with that idea, and the feelings of self-lameness behind it. But I could also help you out with a real conversation too, instead of a fake one. In fact, maybe we already even said enough words just now for that to qualify. Oh, Sprite, you've always been the one ray of light shining through the clouds in what has otherwise been an emotionally stormy game experience for me. I'm so grateful that you found it in your ghostly bosom to drift over to Lomax now and then to cheer me up. Even enough to give me a real pick-me-up when feeling blue over friend problems, but just seldom enough to feel like a rare delight when you did. Yeah, I was under strict instruction from Vriska to not interfere with the timeline much, for lots of months. So I didn't say hello often, but she helped me be back alive, so I owed her that much on one hand. But on the other, I think she was doing her bossy thing for the sake of just telling me what to do. And I didn't see how just being friendly sometimes was even changing the timeline much, or why that even mattered, because it seemed like most of you all here never did much important stuff anyway. It's true, more tip-top wisdom from that sage bull-headed noggin of yours. Why do you want to be pretend talking, even though it's real, and look busy to your friends? I'm just not up to all this socialization yet. Maybe I never will be. I feel at ease talking to you, but all these others, I don't know. It feels really awkward, and I think I lost most of my prior bravado due to a lot of bad things that happened with my friends. What happened with them? I just messed up everyone in a lot of ways I'm too embarrassed to even talk about. And now I just feel gun-shy about everything, I guess. Even polite conversation with fun new people I should be thrilled to meet. I couldn't even set things right with my buddies now if I wanted to. Jane's asleep, so I can't make amends with her after she became an angry robot and punched me in the gut and jailed me, and threatened me with eternal marriage and baby-making duties. I mean, sure, she was brainwashed when she did all that, but I'm sure I did some stuff to deserve it. Dirk is still way off somewhere, so I can't address that whole spicy meatball, which I still feel terrible about. And Roxy, well, okay, Roxy's right there, but look at her. She's having a blast with all these people she actually really likes, and who are probably actually likable. She really wants nothing to do with me either, so I might as well do her the courtesy of leaving her alone. But isn't she waving at you and saying hello right now, due almost certainly to overhearing you talking about her name? Hi, Jake. Oh, yeah, it would seem she is. Those are probably pity waves, though. I don't think that is true. I have been the getter almost exclusively of the pity versions of various deeds directed at me, and I think that's not what she's doing. Those are normal waves and normal hellos. You should probably do one of those things back to her. Hi, Jake! Jake, damn it, hi! Sorry. Hi, Roxy. You're with us again, and I like that. Nice, bro. Keep working on behaviors of that sort, your self-esteem will get even bigger. I like that. Ponderations, what a fucking clod I am. I really need to keep a lower profile. Even basic pleasantries are a bit above my huckleberry for now. I get it. Self-esteem is probably the hardest emotion to master. It helps to have help. And I appreciate it, Mr. Taversprite, really I do. No, I mean not from me. Do you have a fantasy phantom representing your self-esteem who you could look up to? A phantom? Because I did once, and it helped me. Then it became real, and really helped me. But not because of believing or anything. Just because of coincidence he happened to be my ancestor. Well, I suppose I have something like that. A brain ghost of a friend, Dirk, who visits me sometimes. I guess he represents my self-esteem, but I don't know how helpful he actually is. Why? Because of all the consternation that my relationship with the real Dirk has caused to me. He says all the right things to make me feel better about myself, but when he visits my brain, I never actually feel that comfortable or good about myself. I just feel kind of weird and truthfully spent spend most of the time hoping he just goes away, and probably knows that too, because he's my brain, and that makes me feel even weirder. I see. Your brain is complicated then. I'm guessing it's because you're some sort of genius. Really? Yes, absolutely. I have a sense for these things. Gosh. Maybe instead of listening to the upsetting words of a complicated brain ghost, what a brilliant mind like you needs is something simpler, like listening to the nice and flattering words of a real friend. Well, maybe you're right. Not related to that. Have I mentioned? You're actually quite handsome for a human. Wow, do you think? Also, you have a dashing personality, and you seem pretty strong, and your very small pair of creamy-looking pants is really cool. Holy cow, you're right, Tavros Sprite. Those nice observations about me. Why, they really do seem to be making me feel at least infinitesimally better than about myself. What a chum! This is only the beginning of the feel-good feelings that you can force inside you through the repetitive mentionings of things about you, but also through developing yourself as a brave, alive hero. It's too late for me to do that, since I lived a weak life, died, and was lucky enough to have a friend with a good enough heart to bring me back, but only as a spiritual guide, such as the one floating before you. So I can't be that heroically great anymore, by tragic definition, but you can. You're living, strong, nice, and even higher importance, immortal. So that gives you, by my estimation, literally forever, to get better and better and better, and finally, prove yourself. That way you can win your friends over, and everyone will like you again. Boy shitting howdy. Just imagine from hobbledehoy to hero, when that spiffy predicament just razzed my berries. Tavros, would you leave the poor kid alone? What sort of nonsense are you telling him? Nothing. Oh, bullshit. You're filling his head with lies, aren't you? No, it's just a basic conversation. Not about any topics you're probably going to say you disapprove of. Hey, kid, what's he telling you? What's your name again? Jape? Yeah, sure. No, it's not Jape. Wrong. Who even cares? Your overly simplistic human names all sound so alike to me. Anyway, listen, Jape. Whatever load of shit he's selling you in a misguided effort to cheer you up, don't listen to him. It's all a bunch of sappy, delusional garbage. I'm not gonna let you down easy, and someday you'll realize this is the biggest favor anyone's ever done for you. You're never going to do anything important, and you'll never amount to anything. Period. Neither is Tavros. Wait, no. Now hold on. No, you hold on, Tavros. You had more than enough chances to prove you could be a relevant contributor to our adventure, but you blew it in every step of the way. It's time to face the facts. You're never going to have the big moment that vindicates your arc of personal development. It's just not going to happen. No, I know that. I just admitted that. You weren't listening to our... It's not going to happen for Jape either. So stop filling his head with nonsense. I can just smell it off him. He's just like you, really. A loser's a loser. Sniffle. Here's the bottom line. Pages just suck. All of them do. They just can't ever seem to get it together. I think it just happens to be the class players get stuck with if they're naturally that sort of person. It doesn't mean they don't have value as people, but they'll never have anything significant to contribute. So they really should just stay out of the way. There's a certain quiet dignity in understanding your utterly crippling limitations as an individual. Ideally, a very quiet dignity, so the important people can still hear themselves think. Okay, but what about all that big page potential? That's a lot of misleading horseshit, and really kind of cruel stipulation of the class, to be honest. It makes losers think there's actually some light at the end of a long tunnel, so it keeps them dreaming instead of facing the facts. Sure, they could reach all that potential if they worked really hard for a long time, but don't you get it? The very nature of who they are prohibits that. They don't have what it takes to stick it out to the end, because they're too weak mentally. So it's just the game playing a nasty joke on them, like dangling a carrot at the end of a ridiculously long stick. Only an asshole would knowingly play along with such a vicious hoax. No, any form of friendship encouragement, no matter what, is universally great, I think. We all learn this as fact from lots of things we see and enjoy, in stories and stuff. Oh my fucking god. No, Tavros Sprite, she's right. She's right. Vriska, look what you did. You made my friend Jape sad. Don't listen to her. And come here, buddy, for a reassuring embrace. Tavros, don't you fucking touch him! Remember? You've only been prototyped once. Do you really want to fuse into an eternal monstrosity with that weenie? God, what a weenie singularity that would be. Maybe I should stand back and let it happen. For science. Also, it would serve you right. Oh, yeah? Well, get a load of this. Actually, no, you're right, of course. I won't hug him, because that sounds really, really bad. Sorry, Jape. I guess we have time for one more. Vriska, shouldn't we get back to our strategy meeting soon? Yeah, pretty soon. It's like we used to say in the old days. Time is dead, kids! Believe me, I haven't forgotten. That's as true now as it ever was. Only difference is we're working together to prevent the bodies from piling up. We still have a little time before we need to get serious, and anyway, when you're managing a team, you need to balance things. Gotta keep morale up, you know. The troops have been itching for a feel-good moment like this for a long time. As a competent leader / power gamer extraordinaire, it's incumbent on me to recognize that and cut them a bit of slack. Give them a little space to remember what they're all fighting for, you know? Yeah, that's a good point. We could do the same, you know? Over the last few years, we've had so many great times and buried all the old hatchets deep enough that I think it's easy to take our relationship for granted. Doesn't hurt to remind ourselves how lucky we both are and how close we came to going in completely different directions. Anyway, I'm glad this is the path we chose. I couldn't have asked for a better Moira. Me neither. I don't know how I would have lived with myself if I had gone through with it, and we'd be dead if I hadn't. Thank God for Egbert. Never tell him I said this, but for a dork, he's... Let's just say you did a great job training him once upon a time. Hey, so did you. Some version of yourself was badass enough to write down all those instructions in her own blood just before she died. Sounds like a real hero to me. Sometimes I wonder what things would be like if we never had our falling out. It was a lot like this back in the old days, remember? Just hanging out, working together, not much drama. Except, I guess, for the occasional ethical debate on how our foes should be dealt with. What if it never spiraled out of control? If I never blinded you, if you never blew off my arm? What if you decided to send John back to exchange all that instead? I didn't write the instructions myself, but I'm sure I never considered it. Everything we went through back then made us stronger. It was something to work to put behind us, not erase. Something that was worth the effort. Yeah, Diamond. Shout blither blah blah words, blah blah, tactless nincompoop, shout ramble screed, blah blister bemoan, blah blah, gossip hungry lobotomy hobbits. Shout yell screech holler brainless gushing yammer twats. Oh god, what is he going on about now? Sounds like he's yelling at Dave and John about something. So John's been here all 5 minutes and he already tripped Karkat's tirade siren. He's not actually angry. He's embarrassed about something. My ear is finely tuned to all Vantram nuances. Embarrassed about what? Think he might actually be bent out of shape over the fact that he's not leader anymore? No way. It's something very personal. I wonder if John's been asking what the deal is with him and Dave. John was pretty nosy, if I recall. I think it's more likely Dave is just rambling, sans filter again. Yeah, he does that a lot, doesn't he? As long as we're swearing each other to secrecy on stuff, make absolutely sure that that they never know I said this, but he and Karkat, they're kind of adorable. In whatever quadrant that whole situation settled in, I don't know. It's none of my business, really. I just never would have guessed. Agreed. I guess we stuck to ourselves mostly, and Rose and Kanaya were all, well, you know. So that left them and their cute mare sidekick to sort things out almost amongst each other without interference from a bunch of crazy fucked up girls. I'm happy for them. And for me too. If you hadn't been around, I had a feeling I would have gotten sucked into some weird bullshit with both of them. Sounds rough. Guess that's one more bullet dodged thanks to yours truly. Guess so. Geek. Gonna miss you. Sure you have to get going soon? Yeah, I really can't waste much more time. Just have to get all these goofballs squared away and then I'm off. Oh. Is something wrong? No, well, not really. Nothing important. Well, what is it? It's dumb. You'll probably laugh at me. No, I won't. Come on, tell me. What good's having a Moirail you don't feel like you can talk to? I don't know. I'm not sure I can even put my finger on what's bugging me. I feel like I should be psyched for the battle ahead, like pumped up to kill some bad guys and finally end this, but I just feel a little weird, especially knowing that you won't be here. What does me not being here have to do with anything? What if, when it's time to fight, and people really need me to use my powers or whatever it is I'm supposed to be able to do, what if it turns out I'm not actually that good? But you already proved that you are. Another version of you basically saved us all, remember? I know, but that was a different me, who went through some things I never went through, and probably figured out how to be awesome and heroic along the way. I never did any of that, and I certainly don't feel awesome and heroic yet. And, this probably sounds really dumb, but it kind of makes me feel guilty. Guilty? Why? Because she pretty much sacrificed herself to make things better. Specifically better for me, I think. To let me lead a better life, presumably, to fix my problems, I guess, but I don't feel fixed. I actually feel kind of weird sense of pressure to be the best version of myself, like the most productive and heroic and well-adjusted Terezi in Paradox Space, but I'm definitely not that Terezi. Okay, you're being way too hard on yourself here. I really doubt that's what the other version of you intended. That's not even how shit works. People don't just get fixed. Even if circumstances change, so you have a smoother ride, you're always going to have flaws. I guess you should always try to be the best version of yourself, but I think it's also important to be okay with the fact that you aren't perfect. I've got flaws too, I mean, obviously, but I'm mostly okay with them. Wow, you don't say. Hey, shut up. I'm just trying to offer a little perspective here. Yeah, I know, you're right. I'll try to forget about this stuff and just focus on helping out the team. It'll be hard doing it without you, but I guess I've managed to do it before, even if I don't remember. Yeah, you'll be fine. I know you can do this. When will I see you again? Someday. I'll do my best to shorten the wait for you as much as I can, using time travel or whatever other nonsense I may have at my disposal. When all is said and done, I'll drop by Earth and look you up. I can't wait. Blither, babble, ramble, self-esteem, prattle, ramble, mumble, brave, alive, hero, mutter, blither, finally prove yourself, babble. Tavros, would you leave that poor kid alone? What sort of nonsense are you telling him? Alrighty then, and that's it. And I guess we'll get around to the bottom half next time, where we've got the Dur streamers, some members of the Troll Gang. Looks like Dave makes his way westward over the lily pad, and then a little one-on-one with the big man.